Hello and welcome back. My name is Exile. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Um, I'm a little late on this story. It's a bit difficult to have things come out in a timely manner when I'm holding down a full-time job. But nonetheless, this is something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give a quick update on Snap. It does appear that people are getting their benefits back. Might take a while for some. Um, This was a pretty good article I read on it. Unfortunately, I'm already kind of locked out here because I've read, I guess, too many Axios stories. But if you go to this, and I'll provide a link in the description below, it will tell you pretty much when each state will get their SNAP benefits to the people in full. Or you can probably just go on your government's website. As of today, Monday, is when I'm recording this, November 17th, I think there are only a few states who have not yet given out the full benefits on this, at least to the best of my understanding. This is another article that talks about it. But yeah, you can go on there and check it if you haven't received your full benefits yet. And apparently, at least some people, or potentially everyone, might have to soon reapply for their SNAP benefits. Let's see, this is according to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Basically, the plan is to have everyone reapply for their benefits, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it, according to her. Now, when this will happen. Hi, Cat. I love you. Um, yeah, so they state fraud as the reason for this, though as of right now, it doesn't seem that there is a particular timeline set in place, but that's something that I'm going to try to keep up on. And whenever I talk, my cat just wants to be in my lap, and I understand that. I love my cat. She's the best. Um, yes. So this is something to keep up on, especially, of course, if you're someone who benefits from SNAP. Let's see. So here's mostly what I wanted to address with this particular video, and that's kind of the reason for the shutdown. So the Democrats were fighting to make sure that the health insurance subsidies were basically renewed. Now, these subsidies are, I suppose, attached to the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. So it's attached to that, but these particular tax subsidies, these tax credits, were kind of added during the COVID era to be more generous. And they were meant to be temporary. So Democrats, it seems, wants to renew it permanently, while Republicans are trying to phase out the tax credits as they were only meant to be temporary. And real quickly, I'll point to this. This was published in March of 2021, so this was shortly after the ACA tax credits were extended. And so it reads: the March 2021 COVID-19 relief legislation, the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, extends eligibility for ACA health insurance subsidies to people buying their own health coverage on the marketplace who have incomes over 400% of poverty. The law also increases the amount of financial assistance for people at lower incomes who were already eligible under the ACA. Both provisions are temporary, lasting for 2 years, retroactive to January 2021. And then it goes on to say that a more detailed explanation of the subsidies can be found here following this link, and I'll probably link all these in the description below. So that's kind of what the fighting is about. And the Democrats are citing that basically, without the extended tax credits, health insurance premiums can go up quite remarkably. Already it seems that some of these insurers are increasing the premiums of their plan. Some are increasing by 4%, etc. However, once or if the ACA tax credits expire, then it's potentially going to increase dramatically. Let's see. In states that use healthcare.gov, these premiums are rising an average 30%. Most enrollers would even face sharper increases in what they pay. The ACA's enhanced premiums tax credits expire. And this sticks out as well. If the enhanced premium tax credits expire at the end of this year, KFF estimates that currently subsidized enrollees will see their monthly premium payments more than double, increasing by about 114% on average. So again, that's one of the sharper consequences of having the tax subsidies expires. And this comes from KFF. They are a rather nonpartisan, to the best of my knowledge, a nonpartisan organization, and they're the independent source for health policy research, polling, and news. And to the best of my knowledge, they do seem to be fairly unbiased. The Republicans, on the other hand, want to do away with the tax credits because, firstly, it was only supposed to be a temporary measure, and they cite also the growing debt total that's continuing to rise. Right now, we are over $38 trillion in debt, as we can see here. And we see here that keeping the subsidies around over the course of 10 years would be adding over $350 billion over a decade. And that a 2-year extension would cost about $60 billion. So that's what they cite. And kind of some of their solutions that they have proposed. In citing Representative Chip Roy from Austin, Texas, he proposes expanding health saving accounts and opening up direct primary care as potential alternatives to these tax credits. And basically, how they would do this is more so by deregulating these things, because right now they're very heavily regulated, by having the government step back and take away from some of these regulations that could allow them to flow more freely. And it's a small government ideal that the Republicans are in favor of, since conservatives, Republicans, for the most part, are in favor of small government and less spending most of the time. Now, we can argue how effective that is, but I think at least the average voter is in favor of small government and less spending, even if the government itself doesn't always do that. And this also is less impacted by stuff like government shutdowns, where the tax subsidies are more vulnerable to these things because they rely on the government to distribute those tax credits, whereas simply letting health saving accounts and direct primary care flow and getting out of their way wouldn't necessarily rely on the government, and therefore it's less vulnerable to stuff like government shutdowns. Therefore, people wouldn't have to worry as much. And interestingly enough, in a lot of cases, both health saving accounts and direct primary care can be cheaper alternatives to actual health insurance if you're just going in routinely and usually doing preventative health care. So as long as you're doing preventative stuff and nothing too expensive, these can actually be a lot cheaper for the average person. And there's a lot more I could go into on how health saving accounts and direct primary care works and everything. There's a lot to go into, but that's not my main focus of this video. It's more so to cover the reasons why the government shut down in the first place, and to also give both sides of the argument. So that's how I see the situation here. So that's kind of both sides and their explanations as to what's happening. And for anyone who might be affected by tax credits going away, if that does happen, which I think it's likely given the circumstances, there are certain things you can do to receive help and aid, and I will try to post them in the description below. But I will also show some of the things you can do here. You can use healthcare.gov to see certain plans and prices. And shopping around can actually help you save a lot of money, especially during open enrollment, which for most places and most plans that's something that's going on right now. So you can see and compare plans and prices to maybe get even a better plan than you have now. You can use something like healthsherpa.com. There's also something called Find Help, and you can use that to help find certain programs and even healthcare. Again, going back to KFF, you can also use this to research policies and learn more about healthcare. And then you have CAP, Consumer Assistance Program, and a lot of states actually have this. You can look at your government resources and see if they have this, and they might be able to assist you or anyone who's having problems with their health insurance or seeking to learn about health coverage options. So those are some options that you might have open to you as far as actually finding help in this matter. And for me, basically my stance is I don't think either side, maybe this is just my thought, but I don't think the government officials really care too much. I'm actually a bit center right. I do think the growing debt problem is a serious problem that plagues our nation, and that we do have to get spending under control. I do think some of the plans about with getting out of the way of HSA and the direct primary care is a good idea. However, also, I don't think the Republicans necessarily have done a great job when it comes to reducing spending, etc., and tackling that debt crisis. I would like to see more, but I also don't think Democrat representatives have done much either, even when they were in power. But this isn't so much about them. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm trying to give a perspective from both sides, and hopefully, again, I don't care about the politicians too much, but hopefully we can stop demonizing each other and just accusing others of being evil for being a Democrat or for being a Republican, etc., etc. Because these are the types of things that people are really looking at the policies and the solutions that are on the table. And I don't think a lot of the times we see eye to eye, and a lot of the times we actually just see one side of the problem and we just accuse the other side of being evil. So I really want to work to change that and hopefully humanize each side, especially when it just comes to the average worker, the average voter, who doesn't really have a big say in what the government does. The government has always been kind of incompetent. And so I'm just trying to encourage others to love one another, be there for each other, help one another, and bring both sides to the table so we can see eye to eye and maybe have open dialogue with each other. And for me, I am a Christian, and I do try to promote the values of Christ. And he even says, "By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And he encouraged us to pray for each other, for our neighbors, and even for those we consider our enemies. And, well, I personally wouldn't hope that we consider each other enemies, but if you do, pray for them. We're also called to pray for our government officials. And this was back in the time where the government officials were taking Christians and executing them. So, regardless of what we think of our government officials today, I do believe we should be praying for them. We should be praying for one another. We should be looking to help one another. And we shouldn't be demonizing and attacking one another. So I'm just here trying to spread love. I'm trying to spread unity. And hopefully this video makes at least some difference. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider liking, commenting, subscribing, or sharing it. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.